Hi and welcome to this video tutorial where we are going to see how to connect from a LAN client through internet to our remote server located in another LAN. To achieve that, we are going to use NAT overload, in other words, PAT. And for those who doesn't know what does mean PAT, PAT stands for Port Address Translation. Means that a bunch of private IP addresses can connect with a single public IP address with different ports. Okay, and we configured that NAT overload on both sides, from the client side and from the server side. We are using two Cisco routers right here with the IEGRP routing protocol. Okay, let's see the configuration of routers. Let's open router 1 and show running config. Okay, so we do have two interfaces here. Giga Ethernet 0/0, it is the NAT outside with the public IP address 41.11.11.2, and the inside NAT interface will be the 172.16.11.1. Okay, we are using IEGRP with autonomous system 1, and to activate the NAT overload we should first create an access list. I name it client and permit any IP address to go through this access list, and with this command ipnat inside source list client interface Giga Ethernet 0/0 overload, we told to the router that we want to NAT the inside source list. It means the private IP addresses, and send them, all of them, to the outside NAT interface, which is Giga Ethernet 0/0. And if we do not mention the word overload, the path will not be activated. Okay, so this is all we need to do from the client side. Let's close this and open the configuration of the second router from the server side. Okay, so show running config. Here we do have almost the same configuration. A NAT outside interface Giga Ethernet 0/0 with the public IP address 41.11.11.1. I just want to check something first. Okay, doesn't matter. I just wanted to verify something. Okay, so and the inside interface will be Giga Ethernet 1/0 with the IP address 192.168.1.1, and of course the same autonomous system for IEGRP with the same network address 41.11.11.0. and here let me just stop right here. Okay, let's focus for the moment on these two lines and only this line. Okay, like we did in router 1, we should create a private an access list named server. You can choose any other name, in fact, and permit any IP address to go through this access list. And with ipnat inside source list server interface Giga Ethernet 0/0 overload, like the same on router 1, we told the router that we want to NAT from the inside source list, which is the 192.168.1.0, and send all these private IP addresses to the outside NAT interface Giga Ethernet 0/0 and overload to activate the path. Okay, this sending the updates. Okay, so for the moment the NAT is activated. We should add something called port forwarding to allow the client to connect to the remote server on its private IP address through the public IP address. What does it mean? Let's say we are on the private LAN of this client, like we do have here. I have already Windows 7 as a client. We open the CMD. The IP address of this client is this private one, 172.16.11.2, and if we want to ping or to connect to the remote server with SSH console on port 22, we can use PuTTY for example. It will not open the console if we type this. It will wait for a few seconds, and after that it will show us an error message here, simply because this is a private IP address and this is a private IP address, and the only way that we can connect to the remote server here is to use the public IP address that we set on our NAT over here. But how can the client connect on port 22 inside the LAN of the server using the public IP address? This is why we have done something called port forwarding, and this is the line of port forwarding. IP NAT inside source static. That means we want to NAT the inside IP address, which is 192.168.1.10, which is the IP address of our server, using TCP protocol, transport protocol, on the port 22, which is the SSH port, and send it to the outside interface, which is Giga Ethernet 0/0, also on port 22. Of course, we can change this outside port address, but I choose it to set it the same. Okay, so once we write this command to NAT from the inside this private IP address, this server IP address, on the port 22 to the outside interface Giga Ethernet 0/0 on port 22, we would be able to connect to the console of the server from the client side using the public IP address. Can we test that? Of course, yes. Let's go to our client. Okay, as you see here, network error, connection time out, because we tried to connect to the private IP address, which is not possible. So if we close this and reopen PuTTY, and we say that we want to connect to the public IP address of the outside interface of the router 2, which is 41.11.11.1. Donc, so 41.11.11.1 on port 22, it will open. So we can type the root account and the password, and here we go. We are inside the server. So this way you can connect remotely to, okay, in fact this is our server. It is CentOS 5.x hosted asterisk as a VoIP server. and we can connect to it through the public IP address using the port forwarding and the NAT overload. I just want to mention two things before finishing the video. Before being able to connect remotely to the server via SSH, we should do few things on our server. First, we should install OpenSSH server and OpenSSH client on the server, you know, to be able to connect to the console. First. Second thing, we need to start the SSH service SSHD start, and you should make sure that the port 22 is opened. We can use netstate -tu-lpn, and with the grep command we can bring to the screen if the port 22 is open or not. And one last thing, if you want to connect remotely with root account, you should edit the SSHD config file, and inside that file we have a line or parameter called permit root login. By default it's set to no, but if you change it to yes, you can connect with the root account like exactly I did here with root. And of course you can, you know, reboot even the server. System is going down on reboot now. Okay, of course we lost connection. If we check the server, it is restarting. Okay, so that's all for this video. I hope you like it, and excuse me for my weak English. I hope to improve it. And if you like the video, press thumbs up and share. If you have any question, any suggestion, please mention it in the comments. And that's all. Thank you, and see you in other videos. Bye bye.